说那些应该咯，这种这边的，那我的全部给真的去关的，อันนี้ที่ตั้งตัวว่าลำเวทีที่ตั้งที่สิ่งที่สูงอันนี้ชีวิตคนที่เลี้ยงเข้มบุตรดีเก๋อันนี้เขาเรียกชีวิตอันนี้จะเกิดอะไรอันนี้ที่บ้านที่มาเสนอไปนะอันนี้เรื่องอะไรที่เรื่องการที่จะมาทำอะไรอยู่อันนี้ที่ว่ากระทรวงเศรษฐกิจด้วยอันนี้การพัฒนาอยู่ในที่นี้อันนี้ที่ว่าความสุขสุดเลยนะที่เพื่อที่ว่าเรื่องที่มาที่ว่าตัดต่ออันนี้มันจะเราจะดูดีอันนี้ที่จะเรียนงานส่วนในแก่นี้ Forum is open for discussion and answer and comments.
Thank you. I would like to ask a question for Venerable So I have heard that you mentioned about the Bhakti-moksha or Bhakti-moksha, according to the Sanskrit. In the Theravada tradition, and there are 227 precepts. This is according to the Bhakti-moksha, but according to the Vinaya, there are more than 3,000 precepts. 227 precepts are called the Bhakti-moksha or Bhakti-moksha. So my question is, how many precepts are there in your Bhakti-moksha? The one that you recite, on the precept.
In the Chinese Mahayana, people's precept is 100 years, based on the part, and we have a total 450 quite a long time, 450. Yes.
This is 在我们这个中国台湾也是大陆那边传的这个阶段，在中国有5部律，有时诵律，还有升级律跟根本追求律。
In Chinese Mahayana, we have 5 big one part of Vinaya. Okay, for example, one is Vinaya in 4 parts, Vinaya in 5 parts, and 10 Vinayas. And so in total, we have 5 books. Yeah.
那么其中的4分律就是跟这个南传的同别部的律很接近，同别部。就跟他们的南传的律接近。
Okay, in all of these 5 major books that we have in the Chinese Mahayana, Vinaya in 4 parts is close to the Theravada precept, and that's usually what we adopt in the Chinese Mahayana.
那么其中的根本色一切的部律啊，你这边有听过啊？根本色一切的部律，就是西藏的，西藏的就是根本色一切的部律。
所以就
你这边哈，你这边有。
It's very close to the so-called Sarajeymonastery, Vinaya, which is actually used in Tibetan Buddhism. That's correct. Yeah.
那么因为中国有这5部律啊，所以就是比较复杂一些啊，所以在中国有位祖师啊叫道宣律祖，他就将这些律上的这个内容做一个整理。
And first of all, we have listed 5 major precepts, Vinaya, and one of our ancient masters. He has great wisdom, and he actually combined and these all 5 steps together, and primarily based on the Vinaya 4 parts to frame the biggest precept for the Chinese Mahayana.
那么在5部律当中呢，我们还是以4分律为主。为主要的形式。
As earlier, although in Chinese Mahayana, for example, biggest precept, we take, we combine all the 5 parts of the Vinaya book, but still the fundamental part is based on the so-called Vinaya in 4 parts.
但是呢，也会采取其他部律的做法。
But we also take some precept items from other 4 schools, 4 bigger schools.
对。比方说捉金引戒这一条，在5部律当中，4分律、5分律、生取律、十诵律都可以抓金，都可以捉金。
Okay, for example, upholding money in the Vinaya in 4 parts, Vinaya in 5 parts, in the other 2 Vinaya book, all says that we are not allowed to hold any monies. However, there's only one that says we are allowed. So in Chinese Mahayana, in Bhikkhu's precept, although in the precept is clearly stated that as Bhikkhus, we are not allowed to hold monies. We actually adopt that particular precept of the number 5, as I mentioned there. So as a Mahayana Bhikkhus, we are allowed to hold money because of this situation. So we actually combine all 5 schools of the precept together and take them all together inside the so-called Chinese Mahayana precept.
So, on an aeroplane, when we do online booking, we include travel, services, food and everything. When we get food from the student, whether we can make it with offering, the ability to eat, we are actually purchasing the food. So in that case, we don't take it as an offering.
当时问到说我们坐飞机的时候这个饮食，飞机的人给我们的饮食是我们付钱买的，所以不是他供养给我们的，所以这样的情况是要不要受食还是怎么样？
对，因为这个英文这个 offering
当然，我们从中文来看是手受，但是英文这个 offering 是表示有供养的意思，不是只有授给你，还是说供养给你，就这个意思。
那么这一条戒来讲，不是说要供养，而是说我们要不能够比丘不能够自己去拿饮食，是这个意思。就算是我们自己花钱买的饮食，也是要有近人拿来给我们。所以它不是供养，它意思说我们不能够自己去拿东西。
Yes, you're right. In the sense that the food that offer to us in the airplane is the money we pay and then they give us food. But in English we say offering. It doesn't mean that it's the offering by the lay person or the donor. It's actually food offered physically from lay side of the hand, monk's hand. Yeah. Is that clear? Is that clear? Oh.
可以，那但是我们就是要加口吧，受这样，可以，那大家加口。
To answer your question, that when the student bring the food to us, we just simply receive and say receive verbally, and that's enough. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think the paper is very clear, and we got a lot of information about the Dharmaguptika Vinaya. Thank you very much for 3 speakers. The speaker, Venerable Singh Te, you mentioned about the Brahmanet Sutra, and also you wrote there, enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, to explain the Bodhisattva precepts. According to the Theravada tradition, the Brahmanet Sutra, we call the Brahmajala Sutra, is about the wrong view, 62 different kind of wrong views. So I cannot find out any Bodhisattva precepts in the Brahmajala Sutra. How would you like to express this differentiation, the Brahmajala Sutra of Theravada and Brahmajala Sutra of Dharmaguptika?
단다 게 수능하게 단다 벽에 돈에 영교직송다 그런 저거디 땅마시 송로지.
저거 데리셔. 난다 좀슈 니버데 나고리아 참배저도 농시 장소. 아니 소소를 매보소리아 구지제데. 아니 좀데 전주 시공리아 아니 몸버서 상제. 예술 창배적으로 됐어. 안에 대천 야 무슨 식으로 했어. 대대지 도스 나버런데 나로 좀 쉬어나야. 다 그냥 다다 브라마 잘라 세들 도그라. 다디 에네 네덴 데베돌이야 브라마차리아 수트라스 창배 주변 도스 말이야. 지버려. 브라마자라 지버제 이거 안에 창배 저에 돈 이번 지버렸어. 대번 이거로 이래야 내년 대비 시절 제바이나 참여 저에 돈 나로라 단위 주주산이 이 내당 대당 되게 되면 세워질 거예요. 전주선 비수림 기능 살지에 면도 스테 나와요. 노크랑 토마스 스테인도 다 캐랑 수에는 전주선 비수림 거치 송도 디칸데는 세시신 나로나스.
就是问题就是说，这是刚才在那个第2篇的这个论文里面，就是谈到了一个滤镜啊，这个滤镜对。那个滤镜里面就是有说到，导师在菩提树下有成佛的一个，就是在菩提树下对，就是有正觉，就是成佛的一种说法。但是那个经文的这个名称来讲的话，以这个上座部的这个角度去解释的话。应该是没有讲到这个他守戒，然后就是成佛的这个部分。如果我没有弄错的话，因为呢就是以前那里面就是讲到了，就是说有62种障碍等等的，然后就是驱除这些障碍，有关这些方面的一些问题是存在的。所以呢，现在我就是不明白的，就是说您的论点里面所引证的这个经典里面提到了一些就是说持戒成佛这方面，所以呢就是弄清楚，问题就是这样的。
在我们的大圣经典当中呢，就提到这个问题，就是我们本师释迦牟尼佛初坐菩提树下，成就无上正等正觉以后呢，最初呢就是为菩萨法身大士呢结下波罗提摩擦戒，就是10种48轻戒。在大圣经典当中呢，有。
One of our Shinda's comments is recorded clearly that in the Brahmana Sutra. It says that Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, when first sitting underneath the Bodhi tree and attend the unself Supreme Buddha body, and he first one is framing the so-called Bodhisattva Pratimokkha, and this says clearly in the so-called Brahmana Sutra.
在藏传佛法当中呢，也说到了要修集福德、智慧2种资粮。
In the Tibetan Buddhism also that we need to cultivate both compassion and blessing as well as wisdom, these 2 major stems.
在汉传的大乘佛法当中呢，就说到了布施、持戒、忍辱这3种就是福德之粮。
In Chinese Mahayana, it says alms giving, forbearance, and holding precept belong to the area of cultivating our blessing.
所以持戒呢，能够呢使令我们到达到成佛彼岸。
So because of by holding precept, we can accumulate our blessing. So therefore, it's a way to arrive to the Buddhahood.
这里面呢，包含了布施跟忍辱，就圆满了福德之粮。
This include the alms giving and also holding precept, and all these 3 together will accumulate enough prerequisites to achieve the pave the way to arrive the so-called Buddhahood.
精进波罗蜜通于一切，通于福德跟智慧。 我们修福要精进，修慧也要精进。
So the precept is, also an important way to achieve the Buddha way. So as a Buddhist disciple, we should show practice, cultivate our blessedness, our wisdom simultaneously.
禅定帮助我们开发般若智慧。
Okay, the so-called meditation help us to cultivate prajna wisdom.
最后呢，六度当中的般若蜜呢，帮助我们断除最后一品的无明烦恼。
And the so-called prajna wisdom in the sixth help six paramita help us to cut off our evil thoughts.
由般若蜜呢，圆满智慧之量。
Through the prajna paramita that we can fulfill our adequate or prerequisite to the arrive at the so-called Buddhahood.
福德智慧都圆满了，然后才能够成就无上正等正觉。
If our blessing and the virtue as well as our wisdom are all full or complete, then this will be enough requisite to achieve the Buddhahood.
所以世尊成佛呢，必定要具足持戒这个波罗蜜。
As the consequence, if you follow this line of thinking, the reason that the Shakyamuni Buddha can gain full enlightenment on the Bodhi street, he must fulfill this one so-called blessing, that's which is belong to the precept category.
义理上来说呢，应当是如此。
From the principal point of view, follow this line of thinking, it should be this way. So precept should be one of the elements that help the Shakyamuni Buddha gain the fully enlightenment under the Bodhi tree.
I think the explanation gone to the Pragya Paramita Sutra, but I'm asking about the Brahmajala Sutra. It's a little bit different. However, the problem is about the subject matter of Brahmajala Sutra in Theravada tradition and the Dharmaguptika tradition. So I asked the question about that one, about the Brahmajala Sutra in Theravada tradition, explaining about the 62 kind of wrong views of Mithya Ditti. And the subject matter of the Dharmaguptika tradition, the Brahmanet Sutra, is explaining something about the Bodhisattva precept. So it's a little bit different. So, but I want to know that one. However, it's okay. The second question is Ben 6 U in. About the food, whatever you explain in here, of course, is very strict to receive the food. In the end of the speech, you also mentioned about the self-service or the airplane or something other, which is very modern, right? So the strictness and also in the modern term are using. So Dharmaguptika, if we think about the Vinaya, because it's very old, whatever you explain in the food method, how we can take the food, of course the explanation is very strict. But in the end, conclusion, we say is very modern. So the Vinaya, the ancient time and the modern time is changing, right? So this very ancient style and then the very modern style. So how can we make in combination these two traditions, the oldest tradition and the latest tradition? Can you give me a conception for that?
在这个，当然讲到这个所谓的这些受持的这些戒律里面，他说你讲的对他们讲是非常严谨的一种受持方法。那么这个 这些戒律你根据的都是引用很多过去的这些书上这些戒律上写的，这些戒律上书写的都是非常古老的这个受死的观念跟戒律观念。可是当您在最后提到说，比如说搭飞机的时候，这是非常现代的情形，那你怎么能够把这个非常古老的这些戒律的概念，跟这个这么现代化的东西，把它连接在一起，然后很肯定说这样就是可以？那么他希望能够解释是说，在用这么古老的概念、戒律的概念，从这么古老书里包括引用的东西，能够让到就顺量这个中间是怎么联系起来的？
那么这个前面引用的那个律文的部分呢，就是古老的，就是律上面说到正确的一个受食的方法。
Yes, in this paper, I said many cases that I said many Vinaya school books that which are very ancient and old, very old.
我们正常的时候啊，在寺庙里面，我们都是用这个方法来受食的，平常的时候都是如此。
In the monastery, in our daily practice, we actually stick very closely as described in those books, in those things that you say you call it very ancient rules and thinking. Yeah.
但是呢，因为有一些时候啊，我们会遇到一个困难，就是里面所举的例子啊，我们外出的时候，确实是找不到近人在我们旁边啊，不像南传的系统，大部分他们外出的时候，都有近人帮他们开车啊，或是帮他们受食的情况。
However, in our daily application, in our daily life, inevitably we'll encounter some situations that we have difficult time to find a person to make a food offering to us. And indeed, this is a very modern examples, but we do encounter many of such kind of situations in our daily life.
所以这个时候呢，我们就想要去了解，在佛陀时代的时候，如果他们找不到近人的时候，怎么样去接受饮食，怎么样去吃这个食物。
So my way of thinking is I will assume that this kind of different kind of various situation happened in the Buddha's era. Say for example, when he encountered some situation, the Lord Buddha also cannot or difficult to find a lay person. How will he resolve these kind of situations?
所以呢，我们在这个律藏里面，就找到这些例子就是我们在论文里面所找到这些例子。在佛陀的时代，如果有些特殊的情况找不到近人或是这个居士他的见解不同他不欢喜比丘，那么比丘是怎么样去接受这个饮食的
So he went into the priesthood literature, search for such kind of cases. For example, if Lord Buddha has difficult time to find a lay person to make a food offering, or for example, in one case, if the lay person has a very evil or wrong view and refuse to make an offering in a proper way to either the Lord Buddha or his disciples, how the situation was handled in those literature.
所以呢，我们在律文里面刚好就有发现，在佛陀时代，他们没有近人的时候是用这个方法所以呢，我们在现代，找不到近人的时候，也可以用这个方法。
So therefore, he do find some cases that are actually written and reported in the old precept literature that yes, indeed, even in Buddha's era, there are several cases have been recorded that the monks or the Lord Buddha had a difficult time to find a person to make a hand offering. So he just applied similar situations in the modern cases, and that's how he linked the old, precept concept and applied to the modern, cases.
所以呢，事实上呢，我们还是按照律里面所讲的方法去做并不是现代的方法，还是佛陀那个时代的方法。
So although these cases that he provided in the conclusion part appear to be very modern situations. However, he actually based the precept literature, find similar situations in those ancient times, in those precept books, and he actually applied the same concept, and that's how he linked the old, precept concept to the modern, our modern life situations.
就是这样的一个观念。
My question is, speaker, second one, that you don't, if there's no killer, then all living beings are getting very long life. So therefore, you just now you told earlier that one. So we all are Buddhism, so we must keeping order. Other people say, and we have all sympathy to others. So how can you speak if there's no killer, all living beings are living very long life? So how can you describe this?
단단히 주어디 마지 슈이 디 장마체도 시로시로 아니 단단히 주어디로 아니 그런 좀 쇼나로래야 소쟁이 매바이나 아니 체는 부시부 체레스 딜랍샤스 근데 이바이나 가서 샘제 삼월로 아니 체는 부시부 차고 와서 아니 딜리 체를 위해서 또 스르베트와 체는 부차와는 결과를 그래서第十二个，广大的当初推荐嘛，在chế độ给人别个人托那就话职能来讲推销。
지난이 대직 수혜라디 근데 소재에라디 전제 답제디 소 세르고 제제디 나 무슨 세르고 효지네 제디 다 담는 나타내도 제기를 두고 시도 그래서 지난 가서 나온车다 나와 상계에 대해서 아주 처음에 아 지에 나한테 인제 그러는 일이 캠빈 나 생각 답제가 되도록 어디에 장제 되는 시기에 대해서 그래서 지난이 대해서 semua ya 공화에 나디 가서 나와 상계 어디 lok을 말했어
那刚刚师傅的这个问题其实是有一点还是不清楚，但是我就是以我个人的这个理解力就是跟大家说一下。那他的意思就是说，刚才就是我们第二个论点当中就是提到了一个说，我们如果不杀生的话，那这个对方的众生他会长寿然后如果是长寿的话。按照他的这个理解力来讲的话，就是是不是说，对方这个众生太长寿了，然后，对这个整个世界会带来一些灾难如果是这样子的话，那以佛教的这个见解角度来讲的话，这个慈悲为怀，是不是跟他有一点点矛盾？对，他的意思就是应该这样子。
不杀生在佛法当中呢，我们自己不杀生的人得到长寿，那这个众生呢不被杀害，他能够安享天年自然命中。
Okay, actually, the presenter, Venerable Sinda's meaning is, if we uphold the precept of no killing, ourselves will gain longevity. all the sentient beings, including animal, will enjoy their natural lifespan. They will die, at the time they're supposed to die, but they never live, say triple or double of their life. It's us to gain longevity. Yeah. Not killing will lead to longevity of ourselves. It's not those animals. Of course, if they're not killed, they will not lead to short life. They will live on their natural lifespan. So it will not lead to the disaster on the earth. As I said, that compassion leads to disaster. It will not lead to this kind of situation.
而且呢，不杀生是善业，它自然感召善好的果报；杀生是恶业，有杀生的人呢，自然感召恶报。
On the other hand, that no killing is a wholesome deed and will lead to wholesome consequence. And vice versa, that killing is an unwholesome deed and it will lead to unwholesome consequence.
所以我们中国古来道德说呢，欲知世上刀兵劫，但听呢屠门夜半声。
In Chinese, people that always say that if you wanted to know why there are so many wars and disaster, like one killing from another, one country attacking another country, and leading to many people die in this kind of a big chaotic situation. For example, United States attacked Kuwait and also Iraq, for example, leading to thousands and thousands of people die. He said that you wanted to know why there's so many wars in the world. You had to go to listen to the animal crying in the butcher's house. It's because of the killing of the people leading to the war of the world and leading to many people die. So there's a cause and there's a consequence there.
所以世间的种种灾难呢，大部分都是因为杀生得来的。
He said that a great percentage of the disaster in the world is actually caused by the killing, unwholesome deed that are committed by people in this world.
而且众生呢，在大乘佛法中说，一切众生都是我们过去生的父母兄弟姐妹。
But yet, in his presentation, the core concept, the key concept, it says that all sentient beings, including those animals or insects or fish as well, they are actually our previous parents. So killing them is like killing our parents. And that's why he says in his paper that no killing and following the precept is paying filiality to our parents. Because on the eons of reincarnation, those beings are actually our previous parents. So killing them is equivalent to killing our parents. And following the precept, about the precept, not killing them is equivalent to paying so-called filial piety to our parents. And that's the key concept in his presentation.
杀害众生就是杀害我过去世的父母兄弟姐妹。
And again, he reiterates, killing animals or killing sentient beings is killing our previous parents. And that's the key concept in his presentation.
就是不孝父母。
Is not paying filial piety to our previous parents.
不孝顺三宝的教敕。
Not paying filial piety to triple jewels.
不能成就圣道。
As a consequence, that we will not be able to achieve the supreme enlightenment in the future.
所以应当不杀生。
So therefore, we should uphold the non-killing precept.
你觉得假如当过那个，听不了学音。공개 되게 드림 넘버다가 송해 보니 도샤라 소가 네 봉투그레스나 인데스 카나레 제 봉탑대 다대잉이 송결대 송대잉이가 한가지네 하고 싶은 송단대 이제 들리지 송매를 녀모라고 되죠 tumbe sojung chebe kuni ba munjure chumia tang Nyamong seven there's a Tawani Juan, there's a Shinegi, so John Bonipa, Jumdan Imba, the Sungi, the Gosum. Tangi, Tivashia, the Jitunja Yuberma Lula, Pamba de la Chaje Pambata, Chame Pambani Suni, Chaje Pambajuna, and then Yuma Jenny, children something, they were Jimmy Shower in doing the Yimbo. Chame Pambajuna, the day in Gelonde, Pamba Poi in the Hindu Danyambo, children something, they were Chok. Here was a Sojon got to young Chok. That when Michova the Paris in a leg as a leg Kagon over Mata, leg Kagon Chevala, Pamba Majuma over. Indians on the Nathan David came with the Bangalore, you know, like the Sumsum, the young Michova, the young inner, the young condition. Then the Pamba Chaji Chami, Tony, then the Sojum late is a young 2 year minute, and the Chugun de Ground Rulayan, and the Kavayan, me and a candidate chicken. The day Mebayina, and the Jimbe led the Jile, you should guess me. Then on the Jile chicken and the Labjin Gelon to Zola, in a Lavajia. The Lavajia, the Parisana, Chodan, the Devachi Chobachi, Jimada. Shabachini, Jima Dajimit with Tobayin, so the person of our Rocho. In Maina, Shodan Sazin Devachi, Chobayin, and put the Sadi, my Shamla tissue there than any member led the Naga the day, Chasujir. In the teaching, Nathan Devatan, Chusum the Nigal, the condition.
The question is actually both for the Dhammasanghika and also for the Theravada traditions. Both the presenters, the morning and the afternoon. And as far as during the first presenter, it seems to mention that through the Uposana, Sanghakama, and the course or the cross afflictions will be eliminated. But in order to completely eliminate even the latencies and the seeds of all our afflictions like anger and so on, we need to do what we call Shamatha Upasana, which is actually practicing the Shamatha meditation and Vipassana meditation. So whether this is actually correct or not, that is the one thing. And he also heard this morning about anyone, any kind of bhikshu, if he indulges in any of the 4 parajikas, the 4 defeats, then he is no longer eligible to be called a bhikshu. And also he is not eligible to perform any kind of sanghakama. So that is what he heard. But according to Mola Sarvastivada traditions, and that we have in Tibetan translations, we have a distinction between a bhikshu who has happened to indulge in one of the 4 parajikas, but that has not been hidden, or immediately he wanted to feel remorse, repent, and wanted to tell the audience of the community of the Sangha that he has done this and this. So for this kind of monk, even though he has indulged in one of the parajikas, but he wanted to repent the next moment, so he is still considered a bhikshu, but not a pure one. And he is also supposed to allow to do sharing the food and drinks with all the other Sangha community. The only thing that he is not allowed to do is to perform the 108 Sanghakamas. And another point to prove the existence of this is that from the 800 Sanghakamas that we have, we also have a category of certain Sanghakamas which is called giving, a kind of in the mode of giving. And in one of these giving Sanghakama, there is one Sanghakama to give a special precept training to those kind of bhikshus who happen to indulge in one of the 4 parajikas. So by indulging in parajika, if you automatically becomes not a bhikshu, then this Sanghakama doesn't become a valid. So to summarize all these things, the simple question is whether in Dharmagupta tradition and Theravada tradition, do you have such kind of distinctions whether someone indulges in one of the parajikas and can still be called a bhikshu?
in the Visuddhimagga, and in fact the Buddha is saying, Sile padithayana rosa panyo kitang panyanja bhavaya. Having established well in morality, and then you are able to develop the quality of the mind. Yes, of course, we need to follow the precept, we need to observe the precepts. But if you observe the precept until it becomes adherent, adherent means wrong attachment, or attached to the precept too much until it becomes your obstacles. So that we call Silabbata Paramasa. So Silabbata Paramasa means adherent with the wrong will, wrong understanding. Yes, for example, the newly ordained monks did not actually know the meaning of the precept. They just observe the precept according to what it has been told, even without knowing the reason behind, and that can become Silabbata Paramasa. We use the precept or observance of the precept as the body of the car. We rely on the car so that we can use this car to take us to the destination. But it's not like you attach to the precept too much until it becomes obstacles. Yes, for example, in Thailand, and there are some monks who do not actually know the reason behind of this precept, and because he's very strict, yes, and he does not want to break any precept, but no one is there for him to offer food, and then he used, I use my right hand and use left hand to receive food. This is incorrect according to the Vinaya. So this is the example of Silabbata Paramasa. He attached to the precept without knowing the true reason. Of course, by following the precept alone, it's not enough to make the way through Nibbana or Nirvana. You need to apply other practice, like meditation. So we have threefold training in morality, sila, training in concentration, samadhi, and training in wisdom, bhavana, or meditation, or mental development. And to the second question, in our tradition, if someone commit one of the four parajika, and then he confessed that, although he does not want to leave the monastic life, and then he would be downgraded, we call it downgrade. He's not considered as a bhikkhu, puja, food, sanghagama, and he could be downgraded to a samanera. So by being a samanera, he has a chance to follow the teaching of the Buddha. He would be able to attain enlightenment or to attain arahantship. But he will be no longer allowed to join in the sanghagama. Just in case, if no one knows that there is one who has committed parajika and joined the sanghagama, so we normally count the majority. If the majority of monks is pure, then that sanghagama is acceptable. Unless if you know but you do not declare, and that sanghagama will be invalid. So this happened when the Buddha, before the Buddha attained the Patimokkha, but there was one monk, in fact he had committed one of parajika. He stayed in the Uposatha, and although the Buddha was requested many times, please start the Patimokkha, but the Buddha was silent. So Venerable Moggallana realized this, and he knew that there was one monk monk who has committed Parajika there. He has asked that monk to leave, but that monk was still silent. Moggallana has asked that monk 3 times, but he was still silent. And eventually, because Moggallana has a psychic power, and he just dragged that monk out of the Bostha hall. So this means if there is one who has committed one of Parajika there, we normally count the majority, and if anyone knows, and then we choose not allow that person to join in the Sanghagama. This is according to Theravada tradition. So I have answered 2 questions already. Is that correct?
But Serajey Jungan is a love genie, Sojon Yon Chong Marison, they Bangalore Yellow, but these Sojon Yon Chong are a Chogam.
Kaparanta, the lens my direction. And Chidam Pamba Church Jumbaina, and a Koransugi, Nedin the Big Thailand, Ladan Yamshe Gare Shuina, and a Pamba Chavchi the Chamegi Chaba Mevaji, Kanji Pamba Kuisimbaji Bayana, Delia Jizugi. Nyambaji, the Kajokoran, Maman Gelon was at the map of Ne, and a Gelon Yimi, the Tanya, Hanam Gelon Z. Marison to Honos, and a Gizu Gone, the Tawachil Mashane, and a Dutch Lake, La Sobata, the Deures, So is it so such a kind of monk who has happened to have one of the Parajigas? Is he allowed to attend Uposana? Chong Marisondo. No. And if that is the case, Bandiji, then as I said before, so within the 108 Sanghakamas that we listed according to Mula Sarvasdavada tradition, we also have one particular Sanghakama that is called giving away a special precept to such kind of monks who happen to have indulged one of the Parajika and not, but he wanted to disclose it immediately. So in order to give any kind of Sanghakama to a monastic community, he actually should be included among the community. Otherwise, he cannot be one of the recipient of such Sanghakama. This is according to our text. So what is your view? If that is the case, then what about that precept of that Sanghakama, one of the 108?
Well, as according to our tradition, and if any bhikkhu or fully ordained monk has committed one or 4 parajika, and then he still wants to stay at the monastery, then he needs to target himself to be a samanera. So he no longer allowed to join any kind of Sanghagama, ordination, ceremony, bhakti-mokha. He can observe only 10 precepts and live in the monastery like a novice monk, even though he is 50 or 60. This is in case if that person wants to stay in the monastery. Well, according to our tradition, it is impossible. It is impossible. Yes. But we do not exclude him. Okay, you have to leave the monastery, and if you like to stay, you can stay as a novice monk, but not as a bhikkhu, as a novice monk. So as a novice monk, you just observe 10 precepts, but not as fully ordained bhikkhu or monk.
And we have this Pambachati Chame who have committed Parajika, but immediately moved to an another church who do not facilitate. So there is no chance for those who do not confess immediately. But those who confess, they cannot participate in Sangha Karma, but they can participate in Upusaka. That he was talking. So, but the Ananda said they cannot participate in Upusaka, but our tradition says. But now the practice is very difficult, So if somebody has come in, then you have to go to the last of the line, be a half bhikshu, above Samanera. So I have read that, and then this first Parajika, it is said, who have not confessed. That's qualification was there. But then the second, third, fourth, it is not mentioned. A translation of Pali Patimokkha. Translation Patimokkha in one book, it said, and the first Parajika who have not confessed, who have not get hidden. So, but the second has not. So now what I'm trying, so probably it's clear enough, I think so, right? So, may I ask two venerable bhikshus from Taiwan. So we have Taiwan Dharma Gupta Gelong number 4 and Jileng Challenge Chuji Shitao on a Jisera to do and the Tungsina chair the Yamling the Tonga Gube Chale, Shene Sheju in a Kandina, Kaisna, the Lungdra Ganglo, Dama Gupta Lung Chem into Hinandua, Lung Yanani, Kindu Pachimba, Masangi Garisha, Yanani, Chitamjo, Mulo Sarwas Wadinisha. And other Chinan, Yamni Sapudi, Tonga Gube and the Nidbe Kandid to check.
So my question is to the Taiwanese presenters, and of course you give a very wonderful presentation about receiving the food and so on. But even though that is really wonderful, but when it comes to your quotations and the citations, so most of these citations actually seem to be either from Mula Sarvastivada tradition, the sutras, or Masangigas. So there doesn't seem to be any citation from Dharmagupta. So but since you are following the Dharmagupta tradition, so whatever you have presented, whether it is a kind of a tradition that is being continuously coming from Lord Buddha, or you have scriptural sources to prove your presentation in Dharmagupta tradition. And also, Kishila has one question, as we have discussed in the Theravada Bandes. In Chinese tradition, do you have this distinction between a monk who happened to commit parajika and that one is not disclosed and disclosed, and the one is still considered a bhikshu or not? So do you have such differences in Chinese tradition?
Let me ask him to explain the situations to ask when a bhikkhu violated the first heavy offense, whether he still be regarded as a bhikkhu or not. That's the question, right? Okay. 他说，如果是一个比丘已经犯了波罗夷罪，那么他是不是还是一个比丘这样子？
在我们的律藏里面，各部里面都提到，它这样子叫做有一个特别名称，叫做学诲沙弥，啊，那么它的位置呢是在比丘的后面，啊，在沙弥的前面，这样子，啊，它的位置在僧团的位置，它的位置，啊，是在比丘之后，沙弥之前。那么，像大部分的戒律啊，它还是要持守的啊。但有些呢，它一些戒法的功能，它会跟沙弥一样，有沙弥的功能啊。比方说，它可以受食，比丘受食，接受饮食可以由沙弥 还有技能给比丘。那么学尾沙弥也可以帮忙受持。但是他这样问说，他算不算比丘的身份？我们这样鉴定，他叫学尾沙弥呢？那是行过法之后，对，但是我们叫做，现在讲正法行过法之后，学尾沙弥。学尾沙弥算比丘还是算沙弥？学尾沙弥，他算比丘吗？作用。算是比丘这部分。没有比丘，就是参众，就是做过法之后。不过恩师啊，他不入那个比丘身数，就是没有比丘的作用。对，但是还算比丘。对对对，对，没有作用。好，让我总结一下啊，这样比较好。第一个，他必须要做个法，对，要忏悔。他如果没有忏悔，他就要直接灭病，就是他就要还俗了。那如果做过法之后，他就可以成为，还成为在僧团当中，那一个名字叫修为沙弥。先分到这个地方，然后呢，他算是入到比丘，但是没有比丘的作用。
Let me explain what he said regarding to this case. If the person offended the first level of a grave violation or offense, that two cases, if the monk disclose and repent his violation. The second case, if he does not repent. In the second case, if the monk does not repent, he will immediately kick out of the Sangha community. He is no longer a member of the Sangha community. However, in the second case, if he confess and repent, he will be lower his level to in between Sanamanya and also bhikkhus. He will be in between. He can offer food to the monk, yet he can come to the precept recitation. However, he cannot function as bhikkhus. Although he can participate on the precept recitation, Sangha as well, but he cannot raise motion or he cannot do anything as a bhikkhus. So, in a sense, he is regarded as a bhikkhus, but he does not have a function as bhikkhus. So he is in between bhikkhus and Sanamera in the so-called Chinese Mahayana precept system. Is that clear? Another question, can you repeat it?
Repeat.
Second question.
Repeat. Second question.
那个希腊刚刚问的问题就是说，刚才就是元一法师，您在关于这个受持方面讲解的非常清楚，而且很仔细。所以呢，我想问的就是说，当在你的这个论文里面所引证的我看到的大部分都是一切有部或者说上座部的一些论点来做引证。因此呢，我的问题就是说，您讲的那么详细的这个传承，是不是说我们一个前辈们一种口传，或者是说是导师释迦牟尼有亲口预言？对，所以是否可以在这方面回答一下？
预言啊，你说预言？预言是那个？
就是导师释迦牟尼佛他亲口有没有说过？
现在所引用的这律文都是现在我们在中文的大藏经可以找到。
那么并不是说推论出来的，而是直接律上有一个明文规定有实际有讲到，因为律来讲呢，一定要佛才能为之，所以我们都根据佛陀所说的，而且现在的中文大藏经都可以找得到。那另外呢，有所谓的律论，律的论就是呢，对于律藏的本文有些比较不清楚的，要加以解释的，那么就有论。那么这就是印度的祖师阿罗汉还有菩萨他们所做的。那么这个部分呢，我们也会拿来引用这当中有用到这样的情况。像品名论也是其实大部分都是律，那有些是论。
In his presentation, most of the sources he recited can be found in the so-called Mahayana Tripitaka. So it's also actually most of them actually based on the Tripitaka is actually dictated or instructed by the Buddha. So in the Chinese Mahayana precept part, everything we do or we say must have a base, must be according to any precept, Tripitaka or precept literature. So everything has a base there, and everything could be found from the Chinese Tripitaka there, and everything has a base, and that's what he actually says.
The time is over, and the important things today, concluding our discussion, comes that the Brahmajala Sutta regarding the Chinese version and Theravada traditional version are the similar one or not. Because there are some cases we found Atanatiya Sutra, which is also, we have also in Mulasarvasva tradition also we have found, and the translation we found, and also in the Theravada tradition. But the content is different. In the similar fashion, if name is same, but if it is another content, because in the Theravada tradition, it's the dispelment of 62 wrong views. That is what the Brahmajala Sutra says, Antarjata, Bahijata, Sarvamjata. So that is how it explains how our misconception, our wrong views are. Whether that in the Brahmajala Sutra of the Chinese tradition is similar or something else, because we have quotations from that about the Bodhisattva vows and all those things. So this has to be again said. And second important thing is, Venerable has raised that about the parajikas of two kinds of parajikas, and that also has to be with the sesikas, 48, how to relate with it. Also is another major thing. We should also know each other, and maybe there are some differences. So that should be also looked out in our next year's session, and discuss more on those things. I think that this will be becoming more deeper. So today we had a very fruitful discussion about the Dhamma Vinaya in the morning, Theravada tradition, and in the evening, afternoon, we have the Dhamma Guptika, and tomorrow we look forward to the Mula Sarvasva tradition. And so then we will end tomorrow the three living traditions, a little bit about the Dhamma Vinaya, how it's there, and then we will have a more better picture for the next year's, conference, how should be. I think the Serajey Airport and Bhante Civilians today morning session they have discussed the blueprint of next year's, conference. Thank you very much. Bhavatu sabba mangalam, rakhantu sabba devata, sabba buddhanubhavena, dhammanubhavena, sanganubhavena, sada sokti bhavantu te. Imo dele, tse dele, ime moya dele, inze tado dele, kunjo sum theater.
I have a short announcement for the speakers. We have the vehicles ready, so we are going from here to library and then at the construction site, and then we will go back to the guest house.